talking about
That's my
Easter,
life.
I do have something I wanted to bring up too that I wanted to ask you guys about. So on Easter, we were talking about because ESPN2, I guess, has been playing like esports or whatever on weekends, just because they're the only ones kind of that can still be sports and be live. And my brothers were having this debate on, is it a sport or not? And then that then got to the thing of, how would you define a sport? What's your definition of a sport?
Anything that requires a certain amount of athleticism or in an activity.
Okay.
There's that. I feel like part of me feels like there has to be like that competitive nature behind it, you know?
Right.
Because like every sport has it. You're competing against one another.
Well, then you
Esports have it
call,
too.
like, exactly. That's what you call. I don't count esports isn't a sport.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like
Call of
esports,
Duty isn't a sport. Playing Call of Duty against somebody isn't a sport.
No, that's not
No,
a
but
sport.
that's the same
not.
thing. That's the same thing as playing. That's the same thing. Competitiveness,
right?
Is the same thing as saying, like, if you're, no matter if you're playing Madden against somebody or you're playing Call of Duty against somebody,
right?
Like, you're being competitive.
Well, I'm trying to think
I don't
of
agree
like.
with that sense.
All right. Well, let me throw that statement out the window there.
I still stick with my statement, which I think I'm right.
Well, no, and you definitely are. Like, I'm trying to think, like, what else.
Would you consider racing a sport?
Yeah.
I mean,
on a technicality, it is because
technically,
yes.
Yes.
Technically, they are too, in a sense. They still have to be athletic in the thing that they're trying to.
And the hand coordination.
They're not using a controller. They're usually doing like a keyboard. That kind of thing too.
What?
So when they're playing, usually keyboard. They're usually on a keyboard.
I thought you meant like racing.
That's what I thought.
I thought you meant like actually like racing.
Oh, sorry. No, I was saying inside. I was saying racing and then comparing that to like say esports kind of thing.
This is. I'll make this very plain and simple. I'll make this very plain and simple. Esports and stuff like that is not a sport.
Exactly.
That's 1,000% not a sport.
Because the athleticism.
Yeah, that's what an athlete is. A sport is with an athlete.
Not only that, but like you're literally just sitting there and you're playing a video game. Like you're not physically.
Anyone can type fast. If you can type fast, that's not a sport. That's just you having to be able to.
You're not being athletic. You're typing.
You're not being athletic. Like anyone can have fast words per minute.
Right.
Like, that's not doing that. Isn't saying like I'm an athlete. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point. When you say you do a sport, that means you're an athlete. Athlete is athletic. That's my sole opinion. I'm really passionate about that because I was and sort of am an athlete. I'm in a quarantine situation right now where I can't play.
Right.
But I consider anything from racing, cheerleading, of course, football, basketball, all the main sports.
Sure.
Cricket, golf, all that's athlete. You're an athlete with all that. Bowling, yes, go ahead, count that in. I don't count sitting on your computer or in front of a TV playing it with a joystick. Or controller. That's not an athlete.
Right. No.
100%.
No, I definitely agree with Brian on that one. Just because, again, you're physically you're doing something. Like you're not just because when you're gaming and everything. Yeah, sure. There's like the ones like where you can besides just sitting on your couch or chair or whatever and have a controller in your hand and whatnot. You can of course say like, oh, there's an argument of, oh, what about the games where you're physically like doing the physical motions with it too? Yeah, sure. That's still gaming though. You're not, again, you're not physically competing though. So again, like for example, like if you are playing like MLB and you throw the pitcher throws a 90 mile per hour fastball at you and you hit it, good luck translating that into real life and having an actual 90-mile-per-hour fastball come at you in real life and trying to hit that. It's very, very different. And
see, if I was to define esports, I wanted to say a sports video game would be falling under that. I'd say more like the, say StarCraft, those kind of games. Like, for example, like the Fusion or whatever. That play
right,
the Overwatch or whatever.
I
I
got
consider
you. But
that more
again,
so than
those are
that. But
just
even
like,
that. But I get what you're saying.
What
I
do
get
you
what you're saying.
think? What do you think? Do you think esports? So, do you think esports is a sport?
Is chess a sport?
That's a little harder because that's really like that's a lot of strategy going in it.
There's a lot of strategy in
That's a lot.
esports too.
Nah, there's not much strategy.
Depending on the game,
Like,
it could be.
I don't consider.
so I
anything in
can
a-
tell
I
you
don't-
already. I feel like that Mike is for esports being a sport.
I could see it being a future thing, sure. I'm not saying they're going to be like the popular athletic sports type of people, no.
Right.
But I could see that being its own thing. I could see it being like a World Cup type of thing, not like maybe not here, but like worldwide. I could see it having some popularity,
So
especially in
my
some of the
thing is
Asian
I'll put it
countries as
this way.
well.
Like, I'll put it this way. Like, do I see it becoming like its own thing where it's like people just have leagues and everything?
Yeah.
Sure, but I wouldn't
Yeah, I see
necessarily
that.
call it a sport.
Okay, I got that.
I'd call it.
I think it's
call
true.
it
For me,
esport.
I'd say it's a sport, but I'm a little early on that. I want to see more into it. I wouldn't consider it a sport just yet. But I could see it
I
coming.
would say esports is a very more of a sociable hobby that can be become
Okay.
competitive.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you say you play,
Here's
esports,
another
so
thing,
you play
too.
Madden.
Sorry,
If you play Madden, so if you play Madden, you play esports, you're calling yourself an athlete. Then does that mean you're calling yourself a football player?
No.
Because
Right.
that can't translate.
That's the same thing
I
I was
don't
trying to
agree
say
with
with
that,
the
like,
Yeah, I
baseball
got-
earlier.
If you're Because if
No.
you're saying, "Oh, I play Madden, I'm an athlete, I can play football," all right, go up against
I'm good at MLB
Todd
The Show. I
Gurley.
suck at baseball.
So like, that's why I think the situation on a strategy-minded game. I think video games is kind of like a board game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think chess is a little bit chess is different because there's
It's
so many
strategy,
moving
yeah.
parts. It's a lot more strategy, a lot more thinking on rook moves to whatever I don't know it.
I get that.
Whatever. I know each
Right.
square is like is a letter and a number, the E7 or whatever.
Yeah.
So with that, I think that's a lot different of a strategy than saying I'm going to toss the ball to X
Someone, yeah. I get
or
that.
I'm going to hit a 90-mile-per-hour baseball by pressing A or B or whatever it is. That's a lot different strategy than saying I can hit the button real fast on the right mark. Then I'm going to beat
time it
somebody
perfectly.
Yeah.
and time of play. But that's completely different than being able to out strategize someone in chess.
Okay. Right. Here's another thing.
That's
This is a
my
big one.
theory.
I've always had this problem. Spelling bee, the National Spelling Bee. That's always on ESPN.
I never understood why.
I think
I don't
ESPN
consider
thinks
that
sports
sport.
as a competition, any type of competition. They don't take the
I agree with
physicality.
that.
That's what I think they're thinking of it is. That's why you think you see
Yeah,
esports and the spelling bee, stuff like that.
I also think they're moving towards esports because of the generation we're in too.
Yeah,
That
the younger
I think
people
is
are
a
more
big
into it.
one.
Yeah.
That I think is a big
A lot
one
of
right
people
now.
are spending more time. And think about it, we're younger. Now I think you see these 10-year-olds playing esports, right, on
Mhm.
ESPN and whatever.
And they're becoming huge stars
You
because of
didn't-
it too.
They're
Yeah, but you
making
didn't see us doing
thousands of
that.
dollars doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not my point. You don't see us doing
Right.
that anymore. I mean,
No.
you didn't see us doing that at age. At age 10, we were outside playing, like, kill the carrier, football, baseball,
Yeah.
tag, whatever. You didn't see us doing that. But now since the generation has changed so much, and just
Yeah.
Technology has
just since
changed
the
that much
14
too.
years, just in the 14 years since we were 10, kids really would probably prefer, unless you were not brought into that kind of lifestyle. Like my parents were always athletes. My sister was an athlete.
Mhm.
So I became an athlete. It just kind of by trait of me being around them and me being one to be active.
Sure.
I've got a mixture of
and that's just
athlete and not.
and that's
So
yeah. So my entire family has been. My cousin is. My uncle was. Both my girl cousins were. That's really different to where, you know, perfect example actually. Perfect example. My little cousin, he's 16, 17 now. I think he's 16. I can't remember.
we're 17.
Good job.
Whatever.
Well, he's 16 and a half.
But when we were younger,
Let's cut it down the middle. There you go. Good boy, Jeff.
when we were younger, and I was always outside playing with everybody at family functions, he'd be wanting to sit on his Game Boy or whatever he was playing, rather than do anything else. It wasn't like he wanted to read. It was like, I'd rather be playing video games.
Right.
When all of us were outside, and that kind of
Here's
just
another
ended
thing,
translating over.
This is another generational thing too. Did you guys have a phone at 10?
No, not even close.
No. How many
I had
kids
my
have you seen
phone-
younger and younger see? They have a phone? What is this?
Dude,
Like I've
Kids
seen
in elementary
seen-
school have
yeah.
phones.
the many times I've seen people come
what do
in
you-
with a young kid and they have a phone. Like, what? Why do they have a
It's
phone?
like, what are they gonna do besides play games? And what are you gonna do? Call their dad on the phone? I don't know. I don't
here's the
get it.
thing. I don't agree with kids having phones, but I can also understand why.
Right, for emergencies only.
Because for emergencies, if you think about, for example, I got a phone 6th grade or 7th grade, 6th grade.
Also, a way to kind of
Because-
kids too.
Yeah, I got a phone 6th grade,
Mhm.
which was what I was 11.
For what,
I was like 7th,
11?
8th grade.
I was 11.
10, 11, somewhere around there.
10 and 11. Yes,
No.
I said 11. 6th grade.
6th grade?
I'm also
Yeah.
I'm also older than you guys. Think about that. We are the same age,
Right.
but I'm older than you both. I'm a
Yeah.
year older than you guys.
That's what I'm saying. Between the age of 10 and 11.
Yeah. So I got mine in 6th grade because I started sports.
Right. You get to
Or
stay
I was
after
doing, and I was doing.
school
I had to stay at school. My sister was playing sports. My dad was working, and Katie and I ended at different times.
right.
So it wasn't
So-
like we ended at the same time. So we had
probably
to
were
tell
12.
my
We
mom.
were probably 12. Because the average for 6th grade is usually 11. If you're older than us, probably 12.
You might be right.
Either way.
Whatever it was, I got it
Either way,
way
11,
before
12,
my
who
sister.
cares?
I got it way before my sister did because I started sports and I did whatever I was doing. And so I had to stay after school. My sister had to do her
Mhm.
thing. We ended different times. So instead of my
Absolutely.
mom coming to pick at 3 o'clock to pick up my sister and then wait an hour for me, there's no point to that when we live across the road.
Right.
Just call them when I come back. Of course, I texted all the time when I wasn't supposed to,
Yeah.
because everyone did that.
Yeah.
But that was
That was why I
a
got my phone
phone.
too. It's a similar kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Like
what-
for example, I think mine wasn't even like a legitimate phone when I got it. It was like a 25 cents per text pay as you go phone. It was one of those.
I got a singular flip phone.
Dude.
I had a singular flip phone. Think about what
I had a
singular
keyboard
was still
on mine.
around.
Oh, you're cool.
Dang. Oh wait, which one? Like the actual flip keyboard, the QWERTY?
Yeah.
The
You
QWERTY
just
keyboard?
flip it up.
Nice.
Yeah. I want to flip out. We just
Yeah,
kind
so
of.
my
Nice.
I think I still have it somewhere. It's somewhere in my room.
so like
But
so
yeah,
so based off all that, I think it's mainly people have phones, kids have phones nowadays because of so many different things that are being offered to younger generations. Because
Mhm.
that's what our society wants now is kids to be more active
Yeah.
and do more things than just sit inside when that's what society's kind of bringing
Mhm.
the kids to become is to sit inside. We're trying to fight that. So
Sure.
with offering all these sports and other recreational activities, parents have to give their kids opportunities to be like, okay, I want to go to this, I want to do this. We're gonna be ending at different times. Like I'll give my kid once they start sports, really like at a reasonable age, I'll give them a phone
sure.
so they can text whoever they need to text or call whoever they need to
Mhm.
call.
Yeah.
To get us to that point.
Yeah.
But going back, what was the question? What that brought us to the phones? I think it's society. That's why things are a lot on ESPN. I think a lot of the sports are on ESPN because of society,
Mhm.
of what's popular. You wouldn't see this 10
Absolutely.
years ago.
No.
It also didn't exist. But that's why it's on there now because it exists. It's in high popular demand because so many kids are playing it. I don't think if many kids were playing it, it wouldn't be on.
I also
Football would
think
always be on.
I
Baseball
think
would
people
always be on.
streaming has really helped that too. Because that was one of the things that really kicked off
100%.
a genre of YouTube too, was people watching people play video games. Especially
Right,
younger
absolutely.
generations
Yeah.
watching that. And that's where I think a lot of that
Yeah,
kind
so-
of sprouted from.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like that's my whole thing on the
I got that.
esports, and like
I got you.
I'm very passionate about that. I think you could also find someone who weighs completely on the other side.
Oh, yeah, you probably could.
Because they might not have that same kind of
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say background.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Because again,
because that was literally that's why the debate got kind of heated, was because my brothers are both on the different side of that. One way, one the other. So
I'm assuming was Mitch the one saying that it was not a sport?
Mitch, yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew was saying it was.
I would 100% side with him because that's all I've known.
Right.
Right.
And I don't consider playing a controller. I think kind of as like a hobby or.
That was another thing my brother brought up too. Matt brought up was I think we're kind of the last generation that kind of did that. Not so much as sport, more the last generation that did the sports activities, things outside kind of thing, and not so much the video games.
I think you're right because
I remember parents are athletes.
Yeah.
Yes, that.
I think unless the family has like that kind of background or push, then yes.
But
then those kids will continue that process. But if they don't and they're not going to push the athleticism or to try to those kind of different hobbies, then it's over. The kid won't do it.